Hi everyone, this is Surf. Hope you're doing well. Before I go on, all praise, glory and truth goes to the Most High forever ever. I am doing a video which is going to be like a nutshell of informations from various angles. I will try to cover as much as I can, making a short video. I will touch base some stuff in order to give you more insight into the hijacks, talking in terms of history, archaeology, timelines, beings, and so on. I mean, we already shown you the most important thing are the Most High's instructions, and those are the ones that can protect you, nothing else. This is going to be some more knowledge, and information which is free, and I will bring you more stuff together, so you can see actually how much these other channels, are gatekeeping away from you and not tying in stuff together. This is a book written by Benjamin Franklin, 1755. We'll do some history first. It's called Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, Peopling of Countries. I'm giving you, the title so you can seek for yourself. What we will read is the last page in the end where it says, which is, it's a start where we are going to start with history. Which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small, so no whites. All Africa is black or tawny, Asia chiefly tawny, America exclusive of the newcomers wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, melanated people, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only excepted, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. So you see, until 250 years ago, the world was populated by melanated people, and the white people have been a minority, which has changed. You call it Renaissance, rebirth, resurrection, where they put everything together, all the lies and stuff, which actually metaphorically corresponds to Gog and Magog after the millennial reign, of this Christ figure. Why after? We will come back to it later. So this is only, let it sink in. So white history is BS. And the United Nations, United Nephilim nations don't exist. Those are tribes. They hijack the titles. So even these people that are having conflicts among themselves, they're actually the same people from different tribes, because nations do not exist. It's a construct. Holy Roman Empire, 1548, Maria of Austria, melanated. Holy Roman Empire, 15th, 16th century. This is a Serbian king, there are no beaches in Serbia. This dude was melanated. See another Black Knight, Germany, melanated. So the so-called melanated history is a true thing. Everything has been hijacked. Holy Roman Empire, Ferdinand and his son Maximilian, so melanated world. Something big happened to them. You might call this an Armageddon event. Joan, Archduchess of Austria, Most High, this is a fresque from Russia. All melanated people, and they are already, nothing is new under the sun. They call the Most High a man. So you have Yahavashai hijack. Something happened to them for a reason. They were worshipping, idols as well. It's same as today. Nothing new. You see the coins, melanated. Now here you see 792, but here this is not a 1, this is a J or an I. They added 1,000 years to our history to support all the bullshit with Jesus and so on, to make their own narrative. This happened in the 17th century, so-called, this switch. Elector Frederick of Saxony, you see melanated people. Dorothea, Princess of Denmark, melanated. This is Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, But since something happened to these people, this royalty, this is a tranny. Nothing is new. See, small hands, gloves, this female energy, these are already the Nefis, and so on. Something already happened to them, and it's repeating. Only they tricked us with colors, and somebody else took over. Original Romans, So melanated past is the true past. So this is actually, you see a portrait of Lebna Dengel, Emperor David of Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopia means mixed people. The whole world was Ethiopia. The whole world was Africa. The whole world is Pangaea. The whole world was America. The whole world is Atlantis, was Egypt, and so on. This here represents King David, Lebna Dengel, Dalai Lama, the Great Khan, Hong Kong, Khan, Prester John, Moshi, Meshi, Mexico, the Mozok, the founder. You see, this character from the Old Testament lived in medieval times, what we would call medieval times. So it happened not a long time ago. King David lived in medieval times, and once you dig deeper, it's like until the 16th century, 17th, and so on. And he lived a long while, more than 500 years. So this is some archaeology. I will go to different sections to put some stuff together, still going on our bullshit past. You see these rocks, petrified trees all around the world. These are actually, remnant of the big event, of the big deluge, the war of the Titans, we might call it if you wish. You see huge trees. And many truthers speak about a few segments of those, but they hide other stuff. See, you have giant skulls. And these are, huge giants, and these skulls are not that old. We live on bodies, on petrified dead bodies and structures, because they were huge and bigger. And then there was a smaller, a worldwide event, in the 17th, 18th century. And if you kind of, read the Testament, the New Testament, even if it's a lot of hijack, the thing is, they speak of a millennial reign, and we have proof that the millennial reign has passed, and Gog and Magog are around all of us. It's the Nefis. Bulgaria. So it's God and Satan brothers warring amongst each other, the Messiah of God, Yahweh, the Lord, and you have the opposite side. This is why it says that Satan works for the Most High, goes to and fro, It's got nothing to do with the Most High, actually. See petrified beings everywhere. Now, petrified rocks, so we can petrify ourselves as well, and all the elements you find in yourself as well, only that it's like a difference, macro or micro, these are huge. So the gold, precious stones, crystals, and so on, so those are actually body parts. See, worldwide, you find these beings petrified. And it's not a secret, I'm just giving you several sides and putting it together. And you will find out that, our history actually starts with the 700 Common Era, if you put together the timelines, until then the waters were receding, so these are remnant of the big event. Not of the event that happened after the millennial reign. See a dragon in Egypt. It's like the dragon in the movie, Never-Ending Story, I think it's called. Now this I wanted to show you as well. This is from Google Earth. If you see now if you take a look at this figure, starting, if we zoom in, you will see this here looks like a sword. And like a huge being, here is his head, and it has a kind of a head or something lying there. They look like as if they knew what was coming. These are some pictures of giants, afterwards. Photos. Nobody speaks about them. All colors. Skin color is hijack, actually. Look at here. Different kinds of giants living in those beautiful structures we live in now. Okay, what you would call Tartaria, which is actually the millennial reign, Egypt. See, no mention of this in history books. This is in France, we have hybrids. Big and small giants, and they are demonizing giants, I mean, why should we demonize giants? And they do not talk about the shapeshifters, because they polarize us only to have hate towards the giants. This has to make you think. Russia. All before an event. Now, when we speak of rocks, you see, rocks are body parts. You can check Mud Fossil University to get a deeper insight into the elements. So, remnant of Tartaria. This is to show you that, the carbon test is BS and our history is BS, because we can get petrified under certain conditions. This is a limestone cowboy, you can check this for yourself. And he got petrified, found in the desert. Found dry creek, bed near the West Texas town of Iran, about 1980, So, petrification can occur in different occasions. Or this is, I'm going to show you this, is when you think of stone, body parts, marble, crystals, diamonds, and so on, These are, some are trees, but some are body parts. You have a lot of statues worldwide that are actually have been living beings that got petrified during the event. This is very interesting, because when you zoom a little bit in, you will see that this humanoid has a snake hand. You see, it has a chomp-it hand. It's not a human hand. And his woman, wife, whatever, petrified. You see how she represents actually the Nephis. Snakehead, maybe, like those Nephis that we slice and dice in our videos. Now you have the cone heads in all colors on all continents, and they're still around us. You're seeing cone heads on Sword of David. They are in all forms, all colors, all shades. Japan, China, Europe, Swarty, whatever. I think you know these fellas. So it's all a big family. Trees, meditate on trees. We live in a world that is not a globe, a spinning ball, Books, mostly all maps from the 16th backwards are from giant books. And they started changing the date, adding the 1 instead of the I. Now, why would all these giants be evil? This is same like today. And you have small ones too. Look at the work. Yeah. This is from the 1760 I-716, I have this PDF. I just wanted to show you how precise and good and what they knew about our body and how the drawings were. These are books in their universities at the time. Looks like today. Same tech. Like if it was drawn almost with a computer. Crazy, right? And we have the little people. See? Androgynous, the priests, the goddess, Gaia, and all these hijacks. We live in an inverted world, and these people came out somehow and took over. And actually, it goes along with if you look at the prophecies, you'll have a millennial reign, with an iron rod. Iron rod is bad stuff, dictatorship, and you have a big bang, and you have Gog and Magog again out, and Gog and Magog are out. You see all the Nephis everywhere. This is something about tech. Medieval times, electricity is nothing new. Our electricity damages us because electricity is killing us. Elohim, it's against us, it's not natural. Not only that they had electricity and they were playing with lights, like in Star Wars movies, you had even Minotaurs and Nephis all around playing with the same stuff, Electricity, ether, nothing new. IAO, Jehovah, Yahweh. This is Atlantis, you want to call it Egypt. And they're around us today, You've seen the videos. Ether, electricity, all the stuff. Michelangelo, Da Vinci, some remnant buildings, of the past. They're destroying cities, inventing wars to destroy the cultures, Atomic bombs and so on are a hoax. They have energy weapons. See, sleighs with ventilators, propellers, in Russia. City drawings, big, huge skyscrapers, nothing new. Actually, super technology, harvesting energy in many ways. And remnants, after the Big Bang. And we live still in the structures of Atlantis and of the millennial reign. See, after the so-called mud flood, you see somebody came out and they started digging, cleaning up. Everything was already there. Some stuff destroyed, some stuff remained. Elevators, and you see that this is after they were cleaning up and trying to reuse what was left. And the reset, they call it reset, but you had a big thing with the huge giants, and you had something you might call Armageddon, and it is the 1700s, and events of the 1400 are actually 1700 and so on. They invented those they made parallel timelines and so on. You see buildings in the middle of the desert, makes no sense, you know. It was a worldwide culture. Old world order, new world order, always the same. Atlantis, Lemuria, it's like in politics, red and blue. You see remnants of buildings. They're both the bad ones. See, people small, big, huge buildings remained. This made me even think, you know, when you see all this in Paris and all that stuff, you know, did they build the tower or is it a remnant? USA, you see, it could be Rome, it could be Greece. It's all the same. See, inheriting buildings from the past, from those that lived here, you know, castles worldwide, star forts, you know, with cymatic patterns, incredible buildings. But you know, this is, you want to call it Tartaria, which is Israel, Byzantinum, which is Egypt, which is, you know, the Three Indies, whatever you want to call it, it's always the same, and it got destroyed because it's not good. They cut the trees to make these buildings, not natural. We don't need damn buildings. But I'm trying to give you, you know, the inside of it, and you see through the vibration of, because they are not good. This just to give you a drop about putting together ether, electricity. I will not make lessons on this, just to make you see stuff and put it together for yourself, because many of you have already knowledge and so on. See, it's a spear, you know, electric spears. Electricity is nothing new to them. Worldwide, you have this, you know, to catalyze harvest and so on. Star fort in Argentina, you know, in South America, you have super star fort. It's everywhere, actually. You can find the books, and everything is still available, you know, so you see that there is a black hole in history. Let this make you think and connect dots. You know, the railroad, they speak of building railroads, but you know, they were digging up something that was already there. Nothing new. See? So the melanated world got destroyed as well for a reason, probably because they weren't good enough. But then you find out, you know, worldwide you have catacombs with all these skulls, and these skulls are put in a precise way and they harvest energy, you know. It's a pure death culture, you know. It's like Satan is loose and his brother Yahweh is going to come for him. They're going to have a war amongst themselves. Northwest Africa, you know, America was called the Africas, you know, just to break down your history, magic spells that you are still maybe thinking about, so you know that everything is a hijack. And I'm no Superman. If I found this, you can find it too, you know. So this puts a different perspective on everything. You know, Phoenicia, Israel, Egypt, all these names are always the one and the same thing, and you had them tribes warring because they have kings and queens. We don't have them. America was called India. You know, when you dig on it, Indian means Canaanite as well, Canaanite. And the world was called Three Indies. The emperor of the Three Indies was Prester John, which is King Janus, which is Dalai Lama, which is King David, which is Amoshi, Ameshe, Amozok, which are titles, which is King Arthur. Arthur means order. You know, Moses took out the rod of the rock, like King Arthur took out the sword. It's, you know, all these things actually happened, you know, in not such a distant past. But I wouldn't vote for neither one of them, you know. They switched, you know, sides. America is the land of the rising sun, actually. You know, Europe is in the west. Just to give you another body backdrop, you know. Before California got separated, you know, it was called Red Sea, the waters between California and the coast, you know. Boom. So actually many biblical things, so-called biblical things, happened in the States. Mer Rouge, Red Sea, Mexic, Meshi, Messiah, Mashiach, Moshi, Moshe, Moses, Mozok, Moscow. This is like what we would call Antarctica, no ice, no nada, and it was called Terra Sancta, which in Latin means Holy Land. And after that, they called it Terra Australis now. So Antarctica was Australia before Australia became Australia. See, even the Prometheus aliens are serving Satan and making fun of us. Here, Saint Corona, patron of pandemic, just as a small quick drop. This is a picture from Secret Worksheet USA. We live on a plane, we don't know that much, but definitely the plane is bigger than we think. It might be a crater. There are other islands, other lands, maybe even flying islands and so on. There's so much stuff. Interesting. And when you zoom in the distance, you see other kind of objects and land. We are like in a small fishbowl. This might be an interesting drop for some of you that are digging, just to open up the horizons and perspectives. Now, this is still a hijack, I think, because there has been done some work on it, but still, crater idea, reflections on the moon, other craters, other lands. Well, interesting. This is, you can find such a map online. Allegedly, they found one in 1950 in Tibet and so on. So you see, there is already an idea of other land beyond, beyond the so-called ice wall. A thug and diva. A diva is not a female version of a hustler. You are using demonic terms to describe yourself and your wretched behavior. These are two ancient Buddhist demons. Just, as a quick drop, found this on the way. In the Chinese ideograms, you will find that actually happiness, they compose their words out of more symbols. When you fraction it, you get God and sheep. Awesome, right? The Most High is real, but they're trying to hijack everything. This is from Anatoly Fomenko, a mathematician. Some of you maybe know about him. He actually made proof about, the time shift and making timelines and so on. I will read this quickly to you and you can dig for yourself. The history of Eurasia up to the 16th century, as it were, has been cobbled together from several reiterated original medieval chronicles which have been shifted in both time and space relative to each other. Adherents of the new chronology have been able, with a high degree of reliability, to single out 3 time shifts in the past of the original European chronicles. The ancient Greek, it really is ancient European shift, amounts to approximately 1800 years. That is, events of the 14th century are attributed to more than 1000 years ago in the traditional historiography. The All European, Christian or Roman shift displays 1050 years. That is, the birth of Christ was much closer to 1000 years ago than to 2000. And then finally, the Byzantine shift of 300 years, the imaginary transfer of the capital of the Roman Empire to Constantinople. So you see 3 time shifts, the birth of a so-called Christ figure closer to 1000 years ago. And this goes along with Prester John and, all these stories that you can still find, but they call them myth, which is Moshe, the founder, the king of the world, David. The picture that emerges from this, as discovered by the scientist and his followers, is that practically all of the story which is attributed to dates earlier than 900 AD consists of duplicates, the originals of which are found in the time frame of 900 to 1600 AD. In particular, each event described in the contemporary textbook as having happened earlier than 900 AD is a concatenation of several later events. In other words, It is a stratified chronicle glued together from pieces relatively connected to each other, practically identical among themselves. So, everything that happened before 900 is a copy of something that happened between 900 and 1600. Body bag for the illusion. What then was discovered? It turns out such a pair of the rarest astronomical events, the flare-up of a new star and 31 years later a full solar eclipse in the Mediterranean really did take place, but only in the 11th century AD. This is the well-known flare-up of a new star in 1054 and the full solar eclipse of 16 days, February 1086. So these events that are described in the Old Testament are medieval. And they are serving a God that wants sacrifices. And they had the power, they had the stuff. And they were ruling for a long while. Now, these are some somatic shapes. I wanted just to touch base sematics. Sematics is the science of frequencies, vibration. Words are frequency, vibration. It produces sound. What you speak is energy. This is why they taught us our languages and have made us dictionaries to speak quite badly. Good morning means to have a good morn and so on. We made lessons about words and so on. But these are somatic forms. And it is good that you have visualized them for something that I will just show you later. You find them in nature. You have quite a lot of channels speaking of this. This is nothing new. And then you have the cathedrals. There were never churches. These are machines from the old world. Not good stuff because there are constructions. We don't need such buildings. We live with trees and animals. But it is good to see it and recognize it. And when you see this here, the Rosetta, this is a somatic form, and they're used to recognize in what tone or what kind of energy buildings were producing, like a key. And if you know something about 440 and 432 hertz, you will know that the 440 hertz damages us, and experiments made on water and so on proved that, and we are water, we are more than 70% water. Star forts in cymatic shapes, what you would call mud flood remnant of the old world, of the millennial reign. Here again you have North America called Mexicana, Moses, Moshi, Prester John, King David, and so on. Utah is Judah. In America is actually, you will find all the biblical places in North America and some in South America. Mount Nebo in the States. Moses dies on Mount Nebo. And then you have on Google Earth Utah, you will find Jericho. You will find Mount Nebo in Utah. You will find Moab. It's funny, right? And then they're playing with us left and right. This is something quickly about numbers. Numbers, the old way you see, the one has one angle, two angles, and so on. It's interesting, and numbers have vibration because the angles give vibration, and it is connected. Letters have numbers, A1, B2, and so on. And gematria is a science that touches geometry and words, and they use gematria to package, their matrix and their wording and their magic onto us. And when you see the codes, you can see through their bullshit. And the Most High gives you the true drop as well. I forgot to show you this before. It's Mozart, melanated, but you see he's feminine, a tranny. This is why to this day they all use these wigs in the parliament. It's a tranny andro culture. Beethoven, nothing new. Now here about 440 hertz. When did 440 become standard? It became standard, in 1926, and in 1936 the American standards were tuned, and by 1950 worldwide. And then you have this. If you dig a little bit deeper, you will find also an explanation of this phenomenon. Who changed it? Presumably the 432 tuning is in some way tuned to the vibrations of nature itself, because it's within the geometry of the 369. Whereas the 440 hertz tuning was introduced by Goebbels, the Nazi minister of propaganda. So you see, and then they changed the instruments, and everything was, destroyed, and they started building everything for the 400 hertz, And you have electricity in 220 volt. It's bad, bad, bad. We live in Faraday's cages, and these cages keep the natural vibration from nature itself away from us. It's crazy. We live in an actor Nefilim reality. There is an awesome channel called Sparkly. You should check some stuff. I will just touch base a few of these. Morgan Freeman is actually Jimi Hendrix. They live and die and change roles and stuff. They play with us. So actually everything around us is bullshit. And you see, it don't matter what skin color you got. They're all in the same business, tribes and family. They are dividing us by color, religion and philosophy. See, Jimmy is around. And you see Charlie Sheen, as you know who this is. It's an actor-based reality. You have shapeshifters, actors. Adolf Hitler, this is a tranny, is actually Walt Disney. You can find so much evil in the web about this. I'm just giving you, so you can think about the Holocaust and everything, how much crap we are listening to. Recognition and so on. There's people that made some awesome work, so you can put stuff together. Now, etymology of human definition. Human was first recorded in the mid-13th century, and it owes its existence to the Middle French humane, or of belonging to man. That word in turn comes from the Latin humanus, thought to be a hybrid. Humus, meaning earth. Human being in the legal dictionary, see monster. When you declare yourself human. Monster, a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. Crazy, right? Let's get further. Legally human means monster. What is the legal definition of monster? A prodigious birth, a human birth or offspring not having the shape of mankind. Now watch this. Demon, definition of demon. Okay, an evil supernatural being, a devil, right? A persistently tormenting person. Force or passion, so person can be a demon. Okay, and it's a variant of daimon. Okay, so just dig this, a tormenting person. So it's not only what you would refer to, those spirits and so on. It can be a person. Other words from human, synonyms and antonyms. Baby being bird, bod, body, character, cookie, creature, customer, devil, human being, person. Crazy, right? And then you have even white. White, white, white. So if you're white, you are human and you're a devil. The wording. Demon is a person, and it says even something like a monster, a devil, actually, you see. Now let's go on. Legal definition of human being, a prodigious birth, a human birth or offspring. So it's a human birth. Human beings are characterized by the ability to speak. They have a high capacity for abstract thinking. It's like they're defining the human being as something that is intelligent but has no rights. Crazy, right? And then you have, what is a monster? A prodigious birth, a human birth. The definition of a monster is a badly behaved or cruel person. Badly behaved or cruel person. Tormenting person. Demon is a monster is human, and a human is white. Okay? Now, is monster a person? The definition of a monster is a badly behaved or cruel person. Okay? So, let's see what demon means. From the 1560s, it's sometimes written demon or daimon for purposes of distinction, meaning destructive or hideous person. Okay? An evil agency personified. Esau, let's go for the Strongs, was hairy. Hairy means devil, goat, kid, rough, satyr. So you have a devil, human, white, satyr, human, and white. It's the same pronunciation like white, okay? It means creature, a human being, creature, not a child of the Most High, okay? Now let's go further. Synonyms for white. Baby, being, bird, bud, character, cookie, creature, okay? Devil, human being. Thing. Etymology for white: a living being, a creature especially, a human being. White, human, monster. Now, what does black mean? A fierce, terrible, wicked. From its 14th figurative senses often come from the notion of without light. Okay? But let's go further. The usual Old English word for black was swarty. Europe was swarty. But the same root produced Old English black, bright, shining ones, glittering, pale. So black means pale, means shining, means white, means human, means monster. So if you declare yourself black, white, or human, you're actually signing that you are not of the Most High, I'm just trying to give you the deeper insight into it, If you keep the instructions of the Most High, you are family, no matter your provenience. We are not all the same. We are of different kind and so on, but that is not a problem. The problem is the lies and keeping the true instructions. So I hope these informations are actually useful to you. Bleach from black, Blake, bleaken, so bleach means black, means white, means creature, means monster, means human. I tried to put some stuff together, and I could have done more, but I hope these few informations will be of good use to you, to bring up some more revelations to yourself and put some more stuff together. Be blessed, my brothers and sisters. All praise to the Most High.